There are 0.4 seconds left on the clock. The arena is a wall of screaming noise. Your heart is hammering at a terrifying 180 beats per minute. In this split second, does your teammate pass you the ball? You probably think the answer depends on their salary or gym hours. But the real key is hidden in a fraction of a second, in a tiny gesture you did not notice. Isolating behind screens, or are we missing the physical spark that glues minds together under pressure? To find the answer, we have to look at Michael Krause. Back in 2008, Krause was a graduate student at UC Berkeley. While other graduate students were out socializing, Krause spent his days in a dark basement lab, staring at grainy videotapes of professional basketball games. His eyes ached. His job was to watch the exact same 3 seconds of game footage over and over again. But he was not looking at three-pointers or defense. He was counting touches. Every single high five, every fist bump, every chest bump, every quick hug, and every pat on the back. Why would scientists spend thousands of dollars and months of tedious work tracking something so seemingly pointless? Because they had a radical theory. Most people think physical touch is just a celebration. We assume players high-five because they are winning. But the researchers at Berkeley suspected the exact opposite was true. They believed physical touch is actually a biological driver of cooperation and success. They wanted to prove that touch does not follow the win. Touch causes the win. Krause had to prove this scientifically in a world that only valued raw muscle and million-dollar contracts. He had to show that physical contact is not a secondary byproduct of victory, but the actual foundation of it. Therefore, Krause and his research team set out to break the celebration myth. If you ask any basketball fan why teammates high-five, they will tell you it is obvious. Happy players celebrate. If a team is winning, they are in a good mood, so they touch each other more. In science, this is called a correlation error, or a mistaken cause. It is like saying wet streets cause rain. To break this myth, Krause had to look at the timeline. He isolated the footage from the very beginning of the NBA season, back in November. At this point in the year, no one knows who is going to make the playoffs. The pressure's different, and the standings are completely open. Krause and his team carefully logged every single touch during a single early season game for each team. Then, he waited. He tracked how these same teams performed months later in the high-stakes games of March and April. He had to see if early touch patterns could predict future victories. But understanding this meant facing the brutal reality of human stress. We have to zoom in past the skin, past the muscle, and straight into the human nervous system. Basketball is a game of extreme pressure. When you are running under hot lights with 20,000 screaming fans wishing for your failure, your brain senses immediate danger. It instantly floods your bloodstream with cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol is highly useful if you are running away from a wild predator, but it is absolutely terrible for your brain function on a basketball court. It makes your muscles tense up. It narrows your visual field. It slows down your split-second decision-making. Under the heavy influence of high cortisol, you do not see the open team meet. To beat this massive barrier, the Berkeley researchers had to get creative. They pulled up the financial ledgers and player statistics for every single team in the league. They ran the numbers through massive mathematical models. They controlled for how much money each player made, how many points they scored the year before, and whether their team was already expected to win based on raw talent. They stripped away every single physical and financial advantage to isolate the pure power of contact. Therefore, the researchers ran the final rigorous math. Even when they wiped out the talent advantage, even when they compared teams with the exact same skill levels and the exact same payrolls, the result did not budge. The teams that touched more still won more. Look at the Phoenix Suns during this high-touch era. They were famous for their lightning-fast play and incredible teamwork. On the court, they were a constant blur of physical contact. If a player missed a free throw, 3 teammates would run over to tap his hand. If there was a turnover, someone was there to offer a quick shoulder squeeze. It turns out, talent gets you onto the court, but touch is what turns 5 separate players into a single telepathic unit. But this realization raised an even deeper mystery. How does a simple tap on the hand actually change how a human brain operates during a high-stakes game? To understand this, they had to look deeper. Your body freezes, your mind locks up, and your performance collapses. You are physically trapped inside your own stress response, cut off from the team. Therefore, athletes needed a biological override to survive the chemical assault of cortisol. Therefore, the body uses skin-to-skin contact as an emergency biological override. The moment skin touches skin, specialized pressure receptors under your skin send an instant, lightning-fast signal to your brain. This signal tells your brain to immediately stop releasing cortisol and start releasing oxytocin. Oxytocin is the ultimate bonding hormone. It is the exact chemical that helps mothers bond with their babies. When oxytocin floods your system, your heart rate slows down, your muscles relax, and your brain exits survival mode, opening back up to complex, fast-paced decision-making. When a teammate bumps your fist after a bad play, they are not just being polite. They are performing a high-speed psychological reset on your nervous system. They are signaling to your brain that you are safe, that you are not alone, and that you can focus again. That split-second touch clears the chemical fog of stress, allowing you to see the court and make the perfect pass. This biological cheat code is not just for sports. We see this exact same mechanism in other high-pressure worlds where people have to operate at the absolute limit of human ability. An elite military unit moves through the dark building in complete silence. They do not talk. They do not use radios that could be intercepted. Instead, they often move in a tight line, each person keeping a light hand on the shoulder of the person in front of them. That touch is a silent stream of data. It tells each soldier exactly where their teammates are, which way they are looking, and that they are ready. Or look at a surgical team during a complex 10-hour operation. When a surgeon holds out their hand and the nurse slaps a scalpel into their palm, that brief contact is more than a simple handoff. It is a physical beat that synchronizes their focus in a room where a single mistake could cost a life. Today, we live in a world where we are increasingly connected by fiber optic cables, but separated by physical space. We study, work, and build friendships through screens, miles apart from the people we rely on. If our bodies are hardwired to sync up through physical contact, how do we build that same powerful synchronization when we cannot touch at all? How do we high-five across the internet